Welcome back to PowerPoint Training Online. Today we're going to be showing you how to build this screen. And once you've built it, you can then use it in any of your presentations or your PowerPoint whenever you need it. So let's get started. So I want to start on a blank page, okay, a blank screen, and then I'm going to make sure that the grid lines or the guides are activated. So to do that, go into View and make sure the guides box is ticked. If it's not ticked, just tick it. And the reason why we're activating this is because we want to know where the center of the page is. This will allow us then to align all of the items without having to worry about if they're off center, etc. So once I've got them turned on, I'm going to go and insert a rounded rectangle. And I want it to be roughly the same size of what I want my screen to be. Now, one thing while we're here on this, while it's highlighted, I want to show you. You've got your white dots around the outside, which you can use to make it bigger and smaller. I've no doubt you know about them already. But I want to show you this other little dot, the yellow little dot. And you can use that to bring the corners in and out, to make them sharper, make them rounder, whatever way you need it. So we're going to make ours a little bit sharper on the edges, so it looks more like a screen touch to it. Once that's done, make sure it's centered, which it is, and we're then going to add in another square this time, or we're going to add in a rectangle this time, and we're going to change the color. So I want my screen to be black, and I want there to be no outline. And now we know that's sitting right in the middle because we can tell by our guidelines. And now we'll have a blue square or a blue rounded rectangle on with a black rectangle. So what I want to do is I want to change the color of the blue, maybe something more screeny looking. So let's go for a dark gray, and again, no outline on that. Now, so I've got a big rim on top and bottom here. So what I want to do is I want to bring that up to reduce the rim size, but I want to leave it bigger on the bottom. That way I can add in this button afterwards. So I've got those two shapes now, and I'm going to group them so that they are one shape. So now when I move them, they both move together. And it's handy keeping stuff grouped in case you accidentally move one item and you've got to spend the time getting it back into place. Once I've got my two parts of my screen done, I'm going to add in my button. So that's this button just down here. And I'm going to add in a circle for this. So again, just use a circle, use shift to make sure it's a perfect circle. And I'm going to place that right in the center of the line. So make sure that's in the center line. Yep, and that's in the center of the line. And I'm going to push that up. And I'm going to have a button of a slightly different color. And so let's change that to a lighter gray, a whitish gray with no outline. Now, so there's my circle inserted, and let's say I want to add in a bit of a texture to it, sort of make it a two-tone color like I have here to make it look like it's got a slight shadow on it, so you know it's really pressable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste that, so I've got a second one here, and I only want half of the circle now. Now I could go up here to the shapes and select the half moon shape, but it's a bit of a nuisance to have to get the right size, etc. So the easiest way of doing this, I find, is get a square, draw over half of the circle, select both, go to the Format tab, then click on Merge Shapes, and then click on Subtract. So you'll now see I've got my half moon shape, and I can make that a little bit darker, and I can then place that in over my other circle. So now I've got two circles, or 1.5 circles, that make my button. So I'm going to group them, and if I pull them outside, you can see what they look like. So I'm going to bring them back into the center of the console. Now the next bit we needed to do was the base, the stand. And before we move on, I just want to say, so I'm using blacks and greys here. You can use any color that you want. You can use colors that will complement your background, or you can, depending on what type of monitor you have, you could create a different monitor. It's all entirely up to you. Next, I'm going to use this trapezoid shape. So if I click on the shape drop down and click on the trapezoid, and I'm going to then pull that out till I've got the size that I want. Now most monitor stands are quite skinny these days, so there we go. Again, placing that in the center, because I know it's the center simply because the lines are in line with my guides. Again, you've got the yellow dot, so you can make the top as skinny or as wide as you wish. I'm going to go for that type of width. And again, I want to change the color. So we're going to go back to Format tab, and then we're going to select a color. So I'm going to go the same color as the back of the screen, on the edges of the screen. So I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to click on the screen. I'm going to take the outline off of it. So now we've got what looks like one monitor base. But again, I want to have a slight different color to it. A second shade of color to it. So I'm going to add in, copy and paste that, and I'm going to cut that in half. And I'm going to use the same format that I used when we cut the circle in half. So I'm going to select the square, pull it up to half, select both shapes, and then I'm going to press subtract. Now, again, I've got my half circle. Again, I want to change the color, so this one's slightly darker. There we go. And again, make sure there's no outline, and there's not. Again, we can fit snugly in because we can use our guides as a guide. And then to finish it off, I'm going to get a rectangle, a rounded rectangle, and I'm going to bring it small enough so that I can use it for the base. So I guess I've got a long stand. Now, obviously too wide. Bring that in, bit smaller. Now, I want the corners to be a little bit more rounded, so I'm going to bring that in, the yellow dot in, and pull it out, and away we go. Again, change color. So go to the Format tab, change color, and then select the color that you wish to use, and group it all together, and that is us done. Now, like I said, you can use the screen for anything that you want. So let's say you were doing a presentation and you want to use this as an icon, but you want to put a picture of a desktop on it. So I'm going to copy a picture of my desktop in, and I'm then going to place it on top of the black square. Now, so you don't actually need the black square if you're using a picture. It's only there so people recognize it's a screen. So if I pull that across, there we go. There is your screen with a stand, and I've got a desktop on it. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you've got any questions or any comments, please leave them down below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's really, really important for us. Cheers, guys. See you soon. Thank you for watching our latest video on PowerPoint Training Online. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and also subscribe for all the latest updates from PowerPoint Training Online.